G. It is today's G's. Let me get up. Start with C, of course, because I've listened to something in between in the last 2 weeks. Well, something that starts with C. I've been listening to a lot of things, really, in addition to things I have not listened to in a long time. But they're all stuff that I've collected in the last 4 years. Let's start with Sibamato's Super Relax. I was just sort of replacing that with a promo version. There's like a group called the Beautiful Music Company or something, and they have like all these promos, and it's wonderful, except sometimes they like forget, or they realize they undercharged you and cancel your order. But I've tried to keep like good ties with them anyway, because they have some incredible stuff for some pretty good deals regardless. Anyway, Enigma, The Age of Loneliness, also a single, right? Well, the first one wasn't a single. Anyway, let me this light is looking a little, it's kind of playing a little bit of havoc. Yeah, it's not really, I'm not going to stop this though. Can't stop the funk, right? That's last week I listened to Daft Punk. This week, even though it was F's, I listened to a bunch of Daft Punk. All right, so Diamanda Galas, this one's pretty great. It's like, you can tell they are from, I think, Poland or Czechoslovakia or something like that. You can tell that they're real because of the type of tapes they are. They're coming to, like, this interesting BASF or something, but they have a very unique, I think, man, this camera just doesn't want to focus today. Well, anyway, they've got something unique about them. Well, for one thing, the flathead screw in the middle there. But anyway, I've got a Sonic Youth one that somebody's been trying to charge some $600 for. I don't think it's going to happen for them. But there's a series, I think, I'm a little embarrassed. I don't remember when that is from. Anyway, moving on, we got Diamanda Galas, the Plague Mass promo version. Definitely worth showing off. The Cathedral of St. John in New York City. I've been there once. I have another version which is signed by her. Malediction and Prayer had some very interesting poetry in it that Cain and Abel seemed to apply to me recently. It doesn't, but it seemed to. And then finally, Shriek's Live is a promo version again of a much more modern 90s thing. I think 96, yeah. It's a little bit updated, in the same way that Neubauten had updated a little bit, but not too much, not as much. Not that she's like Neubauten or anything. I think this one I just have because it's got a band that I like. No, it's got a band that I sort of grew up with, the House of Large Sizes. I used to, some of my first shows I ever went to were those guys. I've got a promo version I just won of one of their albums too, so I've got a bunch of their stuff. I got a demo, a demo version, things like that. Garbage, speaking of local bands, Garbage is a local band for me, so that's why I've got them. This is a promo. I'm not going to show every tape I got, but the promos, though, you got to show them. All right, and a bunch of singles from England. Mort Garson is somebody I recently got into lately, and I really should just pull out. Nah, I guess I won't, but I could, really just make a Mort Garson, mini deep dive or whatever, mini dive or whatever, because I've got, well, I'll show it later, but I got that 71 album that he did called Lucifer on tape. That is some pretty incredible, like, dungeon synthy type stuff, or slash, like early, electronic music, really. If only they'd had, he and, Delia Derbyshire, kind of pretty much invented breakbeat music, but then, like, she just kind of went like, oh, don't mind this, it's embarrassing, I don't want to show it off. And it was like origins of breakbeat were right there, and it was done in like '66 or something, and she was just too embarrassed even. She's like, don't pay any mind about this. And it's like, it pretty much, I don't know, sounds like the beats that Bjork was using on Homogenic and things like that. Anyway, let's see. I was kind of looking, I should have looked over here. No, there's nothing yet. Okay. I can't remember when I'm going to have to show off another box set, but I think there's something. Oh, yeah. Hold on. I shouldn't show this yet, but this is my find of the last couple of weeks. It is a copy of 59 to 1, number 1. I got to show it anyway, although I've read I've listened to the tape, but I have not read the magazine, so it's kind of a cheating. But it's from '84, and it's got Sonic Youth on it, and it's one of the first compilations that has Sonic Youth on it. They're just doing one of the songs off the first album, I think, but it's from '84. It was one of those like Grail-y type things I've been wanting for years and years. It finally came up for $150, so I did it. Anyway, so this is Secret Life of Plants, Plantasia, I think, by Mort Garson. Black Eyes just came out like a month ago on cassette. And yeah, I can't say that Sacred Bones really has the greatest in terms of getting their stuff to you. Like they seem to, I don't know. Or they'll like come out with something you want. Like you'll buy something and they'll ship it and they'll come up with something else you want like the next day. Or they take like 6 months to do it. That said, when they do deliver, it's fine. This is Sacred Bones Society, Mort Garson Pieces special thing. I enjoyed that. Gastro del Sol Camoufleur. That's Jim O'Rourke's band. That is from Poland. The Geffen DGC New Year's sampler, I think from '92, has Nirvana track on it. It's also like a little promo-y type thing. Sort of shaky camera. I'm always kind of shaking the camera, but not really, not intentional. It has Man Who Sold the World, so it's a little later. Okay. G's are a great letter. I've got a few more of these Vietnamese tapes. Here we are, The Cheerful Insanity of Giles, and Fripp. I never thought I'd find this on tape, and in fact, the CD has more tracks, so I don't get to replace my tape of it, unfortunately. But I of course own the CD. I would never dub onto a CD that I don't own. You all know that. Anyway, I'm glad to have this. This is like '67. It's pre-King Crimson. It's really creative. It's a fun album, and I've basically had it since the mid-90s, so not to date myself too much. The Gin Blossoms' first album is like a punky sort of thing. It's all right. Let's see. Girls Against Boys. Oh, here we are. Now, this would be the last thing I listened to. In fact, I listened to it just 5 minutes ago. I ended this just before making the video. It is a copy of the not Somnambulist, the Somnambulist. I'm going to butcher that. By Michael Jarrah. And it's copy number 197. I actually got it for $25 because I'm good like that. I tend to get things for cheap. I tend to be like the one person that gets it for cheap, which is how I can afford to have this collection. It, like having owned Ecstatic Piece number 1, I'd like to say I was prepared for what I would hear, and in fact I was, because I have Ecstatic Piece number 1, which is equally disturbing. So I mean, check it out. Yeah, he's an interesting person. More Girls Against Boys. Yeah, here's a. I wouldn't you know it, I ran out of phone, but I've got phone back now. Let's see. Now, where was I? I think I was talking about Girls Against Boys. And then Koyana. Oh boy, I'm going to talk about this too. Koyana Squati, whatever, how you ever pronounce it, by Philip Glass. The thing about that is, well, I've seen it. I saw it a few times. But then I became inspired to combine the visual of that with different music, which might be, you know, sanctimonious or sacrilegious or one of those. And but there was this piece by Dead Mouse called Strobe, which I think is a great piece of music. And so I have, when the beat kicks in, it goes to that really frenetic part. Well, I mean, and actually it gets to the close-up frenetic part. If you look very closely in the buildings and things and the cars, you can see that the entire movie is going at the same pace, whether you're, in the middle of it or viewing it from afar. But I played this for my friend Auntie. I combined the music, which I thought worked really well. And she said, this is my friend from Germany. She told me that, yes, but the piece is meant to be some sort of artistic commentary on the pace of modern life, and you've kind of undercut that with your, I don't think you've achieved that with this, and I think she's right, but I don't know. I was like hoping that it might have something else to it, but I can't upload it and show you it anyway, so because it's copyrighted, it's okay. It's just nobody can see it anyway. So Go Olympia, the audio walking tour of Olympia. I think I had another something like this of some groups from Olympia in the 80s, some K Records type people. In fact, Go Team is right here. That's a K Records person. Which Go Team is this one? People that can't play their instruments and they don't care. Donna Parker Pop. There we are. Yeah, okay. What was this one? Suspiria, I think, by that band from the same thing. Then we got Godspeed You Black Emperor. I actually have F sharp, A sharp as well. I haven't read all the liner notes yet to it, so I'm not going to show it. But again, this is somebody like kind of made by maybe somebody, I think in Indonesia. I bought a bunch of stuff from him. So like this, of course, there's only 33 of these ever made. I got copy number 3 here. It seemed appropriate. I requested it. This one I've had a copy of this forever, and an art critic friend recommended it, got me into them. Yeah. What else can you say about that? Poltergeist by Goldsmith. I wish Goldsmith had actually committed on the first song to just having the song not really have a scary part at the end. But that's a very small critique. Because it's Goldsmith, he's one of the greats. And probably, it's just as good or better to not have it. I don't know. Like, it was so exciting to me to hear that first Poltergeist song, and it wasn't a scary song. Total Recall. Star Trek Insurrection. He got roped into doing the music for Star Trek, the Next Generation cast. Gone Home soundtrack is a bunch of Riot Girl bands, I believe. Gong's first album, and You by Gong. Goonies, this is the promo version of the Goonies soundtrack. And then I got 2 other versions which have slightly different liner notes to them. Not really much. I mean, that's a movie I watched growing up. So of course I gotta have that soundtrack. It's a good soundtrack though. Kim Gordon, Grassroots, that's Creed's band. In case you don't know, they're actually a really good band though. They're kind of like a studio session band in a way, like the Monkees or something, but, well, not, I guess the Monkees aren't really a studio session band, but they're kind of like that. They're kind of more of a product of a, anyway. I've got Green River's demo from 86. That was a good find. I think it was a cool 100 for that one. I've had the grunge years for a long time. Actually, I already have another copy of that, but for some reason I wanted to listen to. I got another one and I wanted to listen to it. I don't know why. All right, Guided by Voices. That's a favorite band. I've got a lot more Guided by Voices that I collected up until 2019. But they started putting out their early stuff like Propeller, Vampire Titus. This one is a promo of B1000. It's unclear to me whether there was a liner to it. I've never seen one. It might not have been. Oops. Somebody taped this to it. But that doesn't really matter. They re-released B1000 as well a couple years ago. A promo version of 8 Lane Lanes. More stuff that they released recently. La La Land was released last year. Let's see. Anything else notable? Well, you know what? This is Guns N' Roses' most recent thing. Okay. Oh, and Use Revolution 2 and 1 and 2. Yeah, of course, I'm not going to apologize about that. Oh, look, they're out of order. Gumraw should be up here. Now, you know, because, you know, it's like one of those things where you can be embarrassed about liking. Like when I said, like I said, you know, there was a few years where I wouldn't have listened to Guns N' Roses, but then just realized I don't really care what people think. Actually, I do, but I don't share what I like. By the way, nobody cares about this. Like, there's only about 13 people that even saw the last video. And it's not because of that, but because of the general malaise of my people watching and not really involved. It's not confined to these videos. It's also, you know, people just aren't really that interested for whatever reason in a collector. And so all this stuff is going to be glued together. But once, you know, it'll be glued together with the rest of the collection too. And you won't be able to play any of it because the tapes will be glued to the liner notes. The liner notes will be glued to the cases, and the cases will all be glued together in box, like giant boxes of tapes, which would be perfect for like lining a wall or something as a display. But you won't be able to like sell them and have them be any value, because why should you or anyone profit off my collection? If you can answer me that, I won't glue them together.